So you want to go to Disney World during a pandemic? So did I. So I'm here to tell you what to expect and what you want to know before you go. Let's start. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So if you haven't been with me before, I'm SwishWilly, aka Lindsay, whichever way you want to have it. I'm trying to figure out what you guys want to be called. So if you want to be called, I don't know, Schwillies, the Wild Willies, anything, I don't know. Comment down below what you'd like me to refer to you as. So as you can imagine, when it comes to the resorts, not all of them are open, given the fact that the parks aren't operating at full capacity, and they're certainly not at hours that we're once used to. The only value resort that's currently open is Pop Century Resort, which isn't that big of a deal because all their rooms are refurbished. They now have coffee makers. Now, as of November 1st of 2020, Art of Animation Resort will be open. I am not 100% sure if they're going to be opening all buildings. I'd imagine so. They might keep it to minimal floors. That I'm not 100% sure, but that is opening as of November 1st. Now let's talk about our moderate resorts. The only one that is open as of this time this video is published is the Caribbean Beach Resort, or Caribbean Beach Resort, tomato, tomato. Now, as of October 14th, Coronado Springs Resort is going to open, another beautiful resort, but now you're going to have a little bit more options with two moderates being open. Sorry, I forgot. The cabins at Fort Wilderness are also open. If we start talking about deluxe, obviously we're going to start with that OG Disney Resort, the Contemporary. The one where the monorail goes right through the middle. That one you're actually lucking out on because not only is the Contemporary Resort open, so is Bay Lake Tower. Well, it kind of gets a little rough. Polynesian Resort, everyone anticipated it to be open in the fall. Disney then announced that it's actually only going to open summer 2021 because of massive refurbishments that really they do need to get done because it is a slightly older resort, but it's still heartbreaking for those who love the Poly. So you can now, however, stay at the villas and the bungalows. You're also lucking out with the Grand Floridian. The Grand Floridian and Spa is open, minus the spa, and so are their villas. You're also going to see Old Key West. Old Key West is predominantly DVC, and that one's wide open. Next up, you have your resorts that are in the Epcot area. So of course, by International Gateway, you have the Boardwalk Resort, as you also have the Yacht and Beach Club. Those are both open for you. Now for Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom Lodge is kind of open, but only for their villas that are in Kidani Village. Now the last two resorts that are open are Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa. Again, don't expect your spa to be open just yet. And also Disney's newest resort, Disney's Riviera Resort. Before you come down to Florida, if you're not a Florida resident, you should probably check out their health guidelines for the state. I'll put those in the description box down below for you to have a look at because it's a lot of repetitive things that most of us already know. In order to get onto the resort property for any of the Disney resorts, you need the following. One, a face mask, obviously. You can't go anywhere in Disney World without one. Ages 2 and up require one. Now for the resorts, I do recommend, as does Disney recommend, to make sure that you have the My Disney Experience app installed in your phone, your iPad, whichever works. It's compatible with iPads, iPhones, and most Android devices. The reason why you want to do that is to limit your contact throughout your resort stay. You can do your online check-in, which will tell you when your room's ready, and you can open it up actually without your Magic Band, but just holding your phone up to the door. They also recommend that you use your phone for most things. So they want you to do contactless payments if possible. They will not refuse you cash payment. However, they do advise you that if you're a resort guest, you attach your card to your Magic Band and just use that as your payment processes, or use things like Apple Pay, Google Pay, anything like that that can possibly help them out just a little bit more to help protect you and help protect their cast members. So people who are commonly using the My Disney Experience app in the past are pretty used to booking all your fast passes on there as well. One little problem. Disney's not offering the fast pass system right now. With limited capacity and limited cast members working, they don't really need it right now. Sure, people wish they had them still just for the simple fact that they could base their whole trip around that, but with the limited attendance, it's just really not necessary. So now if you're a resort guest and you're coming into MCO, Orlando International Airport, you're probably anticipating Disney's Magical Express motor coach to bring you from the airport to your resort. You are in luck, it is still operating. However, they are operating in half the capacity in the bus, and they're also doing every other row to help with social distancing measures. They also are no longer collecting guest luggage on their behalf and delivering it to the resort later. So when you land in MCO, make sure that you're going down to baggage claim and picking up your own suitcase. Now we're going to talk about the resort cleanliness measures. They have increased their cleaning procedures. They've enhanced everything, all common areas like elevators, escalators, handrails, anything like that, even in the parks, is getting heavily cleaned and sanitized as much as humanly possible for the size of the resort and parks. Now, housekeeping in specifically for your resort room is a little bit changed. When you walk in, you're going to notice the TV remote is going to be in its own plastic bag saying it's been sanitized. The shampoo and conditioner and body wash in the shower also has a plastic covering over the pumps to make sure you know it's been sanitized. Now, also, with that being said, housekeeping is only coming every second day. Another reason why you're going to want to have the My Disney Experience app is because you can actually talk to front desk and things through your chat and have that affect your resort stay. So for me, I wanted to end up changing my bedding halfway through my resort trip. So what I did is I went on the My Disney Experience app, opened up that chat thing, made a request, and boom, it happened. I was in the park, I came back, everything was fixed. So while the housekeeping team comes in every other day, they are still only doing light cleaning. So they will be emptying your garbages as per usual, wipe down the vanity, they're going to do some vacuuming if needed, and they're only going to change the linens that are put on the floor unless, like I said, they're specifically requested, like I did the day prior. When it comes to your transportation to and from the resort hotels and the parks, the buses and the Skyliner are still fully operational. The only thing that has changed is that the minivan service is no longer available at this time. This could change in coming months, but as of right now, it's not happening. Some resort services have slightly changed. Now, Bell Services will deliver your luggage to your room, however, they will not escort guests. So if you come into MCO and you end up at your resort before your room's ready, you can still drop off your bags, but don't expect to get escorted to your room with them. Now, club level services are also not available at the deluxe resorts right now, and deliveries cannot be made unless it's to an occupied room. In-room celebrations and in-room dining are not available at any of the Disney resorts right now. You must go down to the food court or the sit-down restaurant of said resort to dine. Now, your self-service laundry services are still open, but dry cleaning and valet laundry services are also suspended as of right now. So now we're going to circle back to your resort dining. You actually need to mobile order for quick service. They will not let you into the area without proof that you do have a mobile order, and preferably it's ready to pick up. Now, when it comes to your sit-down restaurants and your table service, what you're going to need is a resort reservation for all day park guests. You're not going to be allowed in, as I mentioned before, without it. And it's highly recommended that the resort guests do have a reservation as well, as they are operating in limited capacity. As mentioned before, everywhere on Disney property, you do need a mask, and that is including in the restaurants. However, when you're actively eating and drinking at your table, you obviously don't need to wear your mask, but if you leave your table to go to the restroom, you're going to want to put it back on. And your pools are currently still open. However, they may be reduced hours. Now, the Pop Century Resort pools that when I was staying there were actually open until 10 p.m., which isn't too bad. I don't actually recall what time they were open till in the past. Maybe it was 11. I don't think it's that much of a difference, but each pool and resort will vary. So fitness centers are open, but they are on reduced hours and they are following the mandates and guidelines brought to them from the state regulations. With that, any group fitness or instructor-led fitness is no longer available to you. Now, this has been happening for a long time. However, I do think it's an important thing to note that upon your checkout, it's going to be automatic checkout. They advise you not to go to the front desk. You don't need to. Everything is going to be done. So unless you really need to deal with them, you just don't have to go to the front desk right now. Now, all this information, it's early October, so I'm not really sure what day you're watching this stuff at, but I'm going to link it down below so you can get the most up-to-date information about your resort. It's time to go to the parks. So what you need for sure at the parks is you're going to need a valid park pass, and you're also going to need a park reservation. There's no more park hopping anymore, so you have to really think about what park you want to do and when you want to do it. So with the park reservation system, there are a little bit of differences between who has what and who gets what. So for annual pass holders, they can have a maximum of 3 reserved park days at a time. That could change. I'm not an annual pass holder, so maybe their policies have changed, but as of right now, and according to the Walt Disney World website, that is a restriction that they currently have. Now, for resort guests, all you really need is a resort reservation and a valid park pass, and you can go onto the reservation system. Now, if you're a resort guest, you do have a bigger window and a higher availability rate for all 4 parks with your park pass. However, that being said, it is recommended that as soon as you buy your park passes, you make your park reservations, as some are highly sought after, such as Hollywood Studios. If you want to ride Rise of the Resistance, you have to book your Hollywood Studios reservation quick. So in order to make a park reservation, you want to link all your park passes to your Disney account. And when you do that, if you're traveling with other people, you want to link them to your My Disney Experience account, because that way you'll be able to make your park reservations together as opposed to everyone doing it individually. Once you're done linking your friends and family to the account, then you can select your park and day on the Disney website. You're going to want to review and confirm your park reservation. Your park reservation is not valid, nor is it guaranteed until you press that confirmation button and finalize your reservation. Now, if you want to modify your park reservation, you can do that. You can change your park. However, the other parks are not guaranteed. So if you, let's say, had an Epcot one, like I said, Hollywood Studios is going to be a little bit harder. It might not be available for you. But if you want to modify it, you simply go and you click cancel on that reservation and you make a brand new one with your park pass. I'm going to circle back to your My Disney Experiences. That is a very critical tool that you're going to want to use. So a big thing for when you go to the parks is your mobile ordering, for one, but also when you go to any table service restaurant, whether it be resorts or within the parks, they're not going to give you a paper menu. You're going to need to scan the QR code that's on your table for you to access the menu. So to enter the parks, besides having a park pass and a park reservation, what you're going to need to do is you need to be wearing your mask. Like I mentioned before, you have to have a mask, and your mask has to be at least 2 layers. Neck gaiters, triangle bandanas that are open, or any masks that have vents on it are not permitted within the parks. So you're going to want to make sure that you have one that goes behind your ears or one that ties in the back or goes around the back of the head, as long as your nose, mouth, and chin are securely underneath your mask. So before you hit the security checkpoint to get into your parks, right before then, you're going to get your temperature screened. So your temperature needs to be below 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit in order to get access to the parks. If you temperature check a bit higher than that at the first initial, they're going to have you actually stand aside and go to a different area, and they're going to redo your temperature after that point. Yes, Florida's hot. That can vary the temperature of your body, which is what they're taking into account. Now, if you do get your temperature screened and it's above 100.4, again, you and your entire party that you came with will not be able to access the park. So as I'm sure you've heard, they have canceled major events such as Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Now, with that being said, the park is still offering different things that are typically only available in those hard-ticketed events. So although the fireworks aren't happening nor the full-on parades, they are doing the cavalcades, which is one float every 15-20 minutes, and you'll be able to see that experience there with the music that would typically be accompanying that float. You'll also be able to experience the treats and food items that were typically only available during these hard-ticketed events to all guests that are within the park that day. So it just really depends on what it is. You can't trick or treat, unfortunately, and I highly doubt they're going to make the unlimited hot chocolate and cookies like they typically did during the Very Merry Christmas Party, but there are different things that will be available to you. While there are no parades going on or fireworks in Magic Kingdom, they do have the single cavalcades. Right now, they are taking some floats that were available to you during the Boo to You parade and putting it through on the cavalcade. So I've seen the Nightmare Before Christmas float. There is a Big Villains float. There's your Fab Five float as well. And there's also Winnie the Pooh and his crew dressed up in their costumes. Now, those special tours that everybody really loves, like the behind the scenes tour Backstage Magic, Keys to the Kingdom, All those tours like that are not available right now. So a big thing that people are a little upset about, but it needs to be understood of why they're not doing it right now, is there's no character meet and greets. They do have characters roaming around either in a cavalcade or just in specific spots of the park. However, you can't go right up close to them and take a picture. So Enchanted Tales with Belle is closed, as well as Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Casey Jr.'s Splash Pad, as well. When I say Casey Jr., another thing that comes to mind is Casey's Hot Dogs, unfortunately, is closed. That one in particular is because of social distancing with it being connected to the Emporium. It's just way too many people in there at once. When it comes to Hollywood Studios, the things that you're not really going to be able to experience are Star Wars Launch Bay. That's actually be turned into a relaxation station where you can actually remove your mask when you're social distance quite a bit from other guests. It gives you a little bit of a breather in that Florida heat, so they do have times where you can just kind of relax without your mask on. Now with that, there's no Fantasmic. Indiana Jones is not happening. Frozen Ever After is actually just about to open, which is great news, but they are going to be social distancing you, kind of the way that they do in the Carousel of Progress. So at Animal Kingdom, you're not going to be able to go see the Festival of the Lion King, which is really unfortunate. That was one of my favorite parts of Animal Kingdom. However, it's definitely understandable. Everybody would be way too close. The Up bird adventure thing, I'm terrified of birds, so that doesn't bug me at all. However, that's also closed. Finding Nemo the musical, it's also not operational right now. Now, my friend Chris asked me if you need to quarantine at the resort for a few days or maybe even longer before you head into the park. I feel like that's probably relative to where you're visiting from. I didn't have an issue. I was coming in from Canada, and I guess I wasn't deemed a threat because they did make me quarantine. But I do believe that the way Disney's doing it is they're going to be using the Florida regulations and guidelines that have been brought forth. Again, like I said earlier, that'll be linked below for you to check out. Now, Disney has put forth a lot of information for everybody to digest, whether it's opens, closes, whatever it might be. For time's sake, I actually can't go over everything. We'd be here all night. So I'm actually just going to be putting down below all the information that I know, including links to Disney information off of their official website, so you can follow along in case I was going a little too fast. So that's actually all the information I have for you for this video, but if you liked what you saw and you want to keep up with what's going on and you want to come through my ride-throughs with me, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and hit that bell to make sure that you get notified every time I make a new video. Have an awesome day.